welcome, heroes of the Storms fans. Today, I believe this is our fifth cast of the day, we're going to have a heroic division match here in Season 19 of NGS between Psistorm Probes and BoomerGaming. Now, apparently our heroic division friends like making it fun for the caster where the home team is always on the right for whatever reason. So I get to do my whole setup and then I get to hit the swap team sides button because they want to make it more fun. They want to make sure I'm paying attention, and I appreciate that. Keeps me on my game. So we can see so far that Psistorm Probes have banned Towers of Doom and Braxis Holdout, and BoomerGaming have banned Sky Temple and Garden of Terror. Excuse me. Game number 1 will be played on Tomb of the Spider Queen as we get ready for them to show us who's going to win this match. Tomb of the Spider Queen is what I think it's the smallest 3-lane map in the map pool. Very easy to rotate from lane to lane, so characters that can provide a lot of value in ganks are well liked in the off lane, and characters that can do a lot of damage in a short, quick engage are useful because the lanes are fairly short in the early game, so things that can do burst are often well liked. Sometimes people play globals on this map, but they're faded a bit because they're not as necessary on a huge map. But enough of my opinion. These are heroic division players. Let's see what they thought was important to bring to game number 1 between Psistorm Probes and BoomerGaming. So, in the blue, we do have the Psistorm Probes. They've drafted Tassadar, Dahaka, Diablo, Anduin, and Tychus. So, you remember when I said Global's not as high priority? Scratch that. We've got a Dahaka, and he's here. He's not bad on this map. Lots of little vent areas for him to use for speed ups. And in the late game, especially with Apex Predator, he can be pretty useful at pushing out waves where the enemy team isn't, to try and get better placement for Web Weaver drops. Tassadar and Tychus give you a good mix of damage and wave clear. Diablo is one of those characters we talk about that helps you set up quick burst, and Tassadar can help with that. Tychus can get a fair amount of damage and pretty quickly with his trait. So this is a team that's looking to use lots of the little areas of walls, the short lanes, the quick rotations to do bursts of damage and then back away. If they don't get the kill, they're not going to chase for a super long time. They're looking to get high damage in bursts and punish the opposing team that way. On the far side, we do have BoomerGaming. We've got Greymane, Sylvanas, Johanna, Oriel, and Blaze. Oriel's still one of the best healers in the game, at least for straight throughput. Doesn't have a cleanse, but that's less important on a Johanna. And if they so choose, Blaze can also take the level 1 that makes their passive ability Pyromania. Or their D ability Pyromania, their trait is what I should call it. It can also give them unstoppable for, I think, 2 seconds or 4 seconds once they've collected 15 globes. So that does mitigate a bit, and even Sylvanas can take unstoppable at 16 with Will of the Forsaken. The only downside to Ariel not having a cleanse is both of her ultimates can leave her teammates kind of set up to be followed up on with crowd control once they come out, and especially into a Diablo that can be a bit scary. So iFeed has to be pretty careful if he ends up getting the Crystal Aegis, or even Resurrected if the team hasn't managed to push the opponents back by then. But Sylvanas and Greymane also give you they give you excellent siege combined. They have decent wave clear and a pretty good team fight. And Johanna and Blaze are pretty good at creating the kind of space you want to prevent like a Tychus from getting in too close, since he's a bit of a mid-range hero. So I think both these teams have very good compositions that do what they want to do. I think with a Web Weaver comp, if they get a kill, the red team is just going to tear buildings down like you wouldn't believe. But I think in like a 5v5 in a tight spot team fight, I think we might see a lot of value from the blue team's composition. So it's really going to depend where each team allows the fights to take place. But without further babble from me, let's get into game number 1 between Psistorm Probes and BoomerGaming. For the Psistorm Probes, we have Wolfinitar on the Dahaka. Valera is on our Protoss friend Tassadar. We've got Nimsy on the Anduin, Storm Sword on the Tychus, and the red rook is on Diablo, the Lord of Terror. In the red, we have got E-Bagatron on the Ariel, Chronicler on the Blaze, Dope Monster on the Sylvanas, Calavoth is on the Johanna, and iFeed is on our Worgen friend, Greymane. Looking at level 1, we have Static Charge, the Shockray stacking quest. We've got Enhanced Agility from... That's not what I want to do. Now we know how much health that has. Enhanced Agility, so Race Guard Ahaka. We've got the Soul Shield from our Diablo. Lots to trade here, but doesn't look like anybody should be going down yet. Got the Lightwell from Anduin and Press the Advantage. So not a quarterback Tychus. This will be an auto-attack Tychus, getting a little more range. We've got Viciousness from the Greymane. Good whip there from E-Bagatron. We've got Overwhelming Affliction, so percent health damage from the Sylvanas, which makes sense into the Diablo as he gets tankier and tankier as his souls stack up. We've got Flashlight build, Zealous Glare from Johanna, and we do have Searing Light from Ariel, and Adrenaline Stim Pack from the Blaze. Both teams content to just clear waves at the moment. It looks like BoomerGaming is going to grab their bruiser camp first, and that's something that Greymane can do very quickly, very early. On the far side, it's going to take Nimsy and Stormsword a little more time to take down their camp because they don't have a Vicious Worgen. It looks like they're going for the rotate here. Red Rook and Valeera are alone. The whip is not going to whip into the wall, but Valeera's going to take a ton of damage from this Greymane. There comes the dagger from the Sylvanas. But again, they did their burst of damage. They couldn't get the kill. They backed away. That is what this comp is designed to do. So this camp is still not complete. It is just being capped now. But for now, with this minion that gives spell shields, 20% less damage from opponent abilities. Valeera is still incredibly low. Nimsy has not been able to heal up yet. A good whip there catches 2. And the Detainment Strike is at 1 now for E-Bagatron. There must have been 2 different stuns there, because I don't think she can hit 2 yet without the ability that does that. What else would cause a stun? Might have been a Condemn. Anyway, now it is up to BoomerGaming to react and kill this, although the... Molotov cocktails are going to burn this down fairly quickly. I don't know if that's what they're called. It's a cocktail, but I'm not sure what kind. Let's have a look. He's in work. Gilnean cocktail. Yes, they're not Molotov. What am I, drunk? Red Rook is taking a ton of damage here. Johanna's hero with 17 damage. The auto from Johanna. She hits that flail right into Diablo's face. iFeed tries to hit the Gilnean cocktail. It cannot get the right angle to kill Stormsword. The bottom, Wolfinator turns in. They get 18, but it's going to be 33, and they're going to add possibly 9 more to that as Blaze is turning here. And Wolfinator. I don't know what the accent over the O is meant to make that sound like, but I'll pretend. We'll make it very Spanish. Oh, E-Bagatron does get caught. Does have full energy, however. Is able to get them back up to full health. But it's a 3v4, 5 here with Wolfinator coming in. So Dope Master trying to find the sidesteps. A good whip there. Will get Dope Monster safe for now. Calavoth using the Condemn to push them away. And luckily for BoomerGaming, everyone stayed safe. During that time, iFeed was able to come down and take this camp. And they have about a quarter of a level advantage. And with his ranged autos, Chronicler with a siege camp may make Wolfinator's job quite annoying. But if he does leave this here, it will make it easy for Wolfinator to clear these giants. Out comes the oil spill. And there's the stun from the jet propulsion. But Wolfinator will use the drag to pull in one of these giants. The other one is also very low. He's going to use his Dark Swarm. He gets much damage as he can out on these giants, and they will go down. During that time, however, Red Team was capable of getting their Red Web Weavers to completion. They turned in enough Spider Butts, and now the Spider Butts are going to turn into big, scary spiders with purple shoot gunk. We do see the Feeding Frenzy here from the Dahaka, giving him an additional 1.5... No, sorry. an additional half-second on the drag, and it's already quite long. So this makes drag incredibly powerful. I believe it's 1.5 seconds to start with. 1.75, another half second is 2.25 seconds, so very long. But it looks like BoomerGaming, they're going to use the dark arrows, and they're going to start cracking into these buildings. Now, there is the rotate here from Psistorm Probe, sorry. Lots of damage, but the blind goes out in the storm, so they're not able to get as much damage out as he wants. They will lose the mid fort. Nimsy's taking a lot of damage here. Red Rook needs to be careful to keep. Oh no, he can't save his healer. Now the Red Rook is taking a lot of damage. The percent health damage from Sylvanas and the huge autos from the Worgen mean that is a 2-for-0, and they now have a full level lead as this mid lane Webweaver is blowing apart their gate. Now, Tassadar can safely clear. Tychus is forced to back here, and in the bottom, Chronicler has just been hard pushing the waves in, and the bottom fort is at about 40% health here. Black arrows used to take away the turrets here. There is the dig up. Here comes the Dahaka. They are looking for the engage. The Lurker Strain comes out, but ultimates are here. There's the mind control. Great pull there. Nimsy has just saved Wolfinator's life without any doubt. Fantastic pull. The cursed bullet hit the Haka, made him low, and then the mind control was going to kill him. But Nimsy made the play only Anduin can make. So we do see cursed bullet, mind control, blessed shield for Johanna, crystal aegis for this Ariel, and the bunker for Blaze. Bunker drop. Now looking to soak up to 10 safely, not find themselves in any trouble, will be the members of Psistorm Probes. I think we'll probably see Black Hole, Isolation, Fire Breath because it's Stomp build. How many knockbacks do they have? Not at I think we'll see Light Bomb for the Diablo. And we do see Commandeer Odin come in. It is Isolation for the Dahaka. It is Black Hole for Tass. We're seeing more turn-ins here, and I think you're going to try to defend turn-ins. We see Stormsword looking to turn in. Chronicler pushes him back. Johanna going to set up the Curse Bullet. Does hit Diablo. Takes a third of his health there in damage. Calivolt forced to back off. He's flipped in. The Crystal Aegis will come out, but now the Lightning Breath comes out. Calivolt is low. Attempted the Jet Propulsion, but the Diablo's unstoppable. They're all going to get into the bunker now. They're doing tons of damage as the bunker goes down. The Isolation does catch onto our Ariel here. There is a stun onto Ivy, but he manages to get out his Chronicle. Gets a big 5-man stun with that Jet Propulsion. And we see many ultimates used, but nobody goes down. We still haven't seen the Anduin ult, and I do wonder if he's waiting to see what will be more helpful for his team. Both of these abilities could be very useful. The bubble is useful for counter engage, get an enemy to waste their abilities and then engage back into them. He does go Light Bomb, which can be extremely strong with the Diablo's ability to jump in. Calivolt will sub, but during this time, Blue Web Weavers have been summoned. They're finished off in the middle. In the bottom, it's Chronicler trying to defend it with Wolfinator, but in the top, it is a 4v4. They're jumping in, but there's not a lot of ultimates available yet. Blessed Shield isn't up, Bunker isn't up, Ebagatron whipping away with them whips. But I haven't seen his Nene yet. Calivolt is going to use the Blessed Shield. Is up now, but he's incredibly low. They use the knock into the wall, but Tychus is burning away at Johanna's health. Johanna, Dope Master Monster, tries to E in, use the Haunting Wave onto Storm Sword. But as the Spider Lady tells us, there is a reprieve. Chronicler, they're going to lock down onto Wolfinator. This was a very quick rotate, and this is something you have to be careful of on this map. With 24 gems lost, that is a big loss for the members of Psistorm Probes. But seeing that all their opponents are down, they've sent 3 people in. Now, here comes the dagger. There's the mind control. And Dope Monster is firing on all cylinders as they're firing away. The rest of Red Team has managed to get their turn, and they already have 2 down, and they're going to look to take down top fort with the black arrows of Dope Monster. Calivolt looking for an opportunity to come in here from the flank. Ebagatron also looking for opportunities. They're going to push the waves in, make it easier for these Web Weavers to push up. Spiders have 1,000 health. That's a fair amount. So, There is, once again, the cursed bullet. There's what happened. There's a good stun from Chroniclers. The black arrows make it so that this fort can't fight back. They do have their 13 advantages. They're up 14 and 12 right now. Red Rook is taking a ton of damage. The mind control comes out. Diablo has no way to save himself, and he is killed. That's going to put him down to 25 souls as he revives right away, but that's not going to be the same for Tassadar, who goes down hard. They're just hitting 13 and picking their 13s now, but Diablo has to be extra careful. If he was easy for them to kill before, he's going to be extremely squishy now. Well, there's also a huge wave pushing into this bottom gate. Now, Psistormers are coming in. There's a huge whip. It catches two. Red Rook goes down instantly. Wolfinator is incredibly low. Does get the drag as Storm Sword tries to help kill iFeed, but the top keep will go down. And so far, BoomerGaming is looking dominant in this game against Psistorm probes. A full 2-level lead. Diablo is dead again, and it looks like they're rotating towards this boss. Dahaka's in the bottom. I don't even know if they're going to feel safe enough to take that. Now, they do have vision because of their wave here. Are they going to try and contest the boss? They have to assume with what they've seen on the map so far that this is where their opponents would be. The boss can do decent damage, but this has been a very quick clear. No, they see that it's taken, they immediately turn back. Now, neither team has enough for a turn-in, so this shouldn't factor into what's happening right now. But the top keep is already down, and the boss is coming towards them with 25,900 health. So they are looking to end the game here as they have their 16s, they have a boss, and they just want to keep this boss safe long enough to start pounding this core. Now, we do see the Commandeer Odin come out. They're going to put as much damage on this boss as possible. And Dahaka and Diablo are trying to make it possible that the defense cannot happen. Here comes the tag, the mind control, and there is the Crystal Aegis onto, but there is the silence. A great isolation there, but too much damage, and even with the unstoppable, though Diablo goes down quickly. Now the boss is down to about a quarter of its life, but the core is down to less than that, 50%. Chronicler's just trying to stay alive as he gets killed by Storm Sword, but in return, they kill Tassadar. Sylvanas goes down, but going down as well is the core of Psistorm Gaming, and game number 1 will be to the favor of BoomerGaming. They've looked really strong in the 2 games I've casted to them so far. BoomerGaming has really come together as a team. They're playing really clean. That's not to say they don't make mistakes, but they really, really play smart. Look at 19 stacks of Wizened Duelist. Just incredible. Half the bonus is lost upon death. Just fantastic play there. We do see the Will of the Forsaken here. Pretty standard Joe build. Really common Ariel build. Once again, we're really seeing a lot of this jet propulsion build from Blaze. We do have the Combat Tactician and the Master Assassin with this auto attack Odin build. Ordinary Anduin, Flame Stomp build. So most of these guys are playing pretty standard and heroic. You normally don't want to go too far off meta, but just really, really strong plays. So we will have a look at game number 2 as we hand game number 1 over to BoomerGaming. We will look at where game number 2 will be as we see whether BoomerGaming can take this home in 2, or if this is the kind of game where we'll see either a reverse sweep or at least an even up. You know, casters always hope for 3-game maps. Let's see if it's possible to get that in game number 2. So we're going to look at this. Okay, so game number 2 is going to be on a fun map. I know I say that about a lot of them, but I do love this one in particular. It will be Infernal Shrines. A map where there's a lot of different ways to play it, a lot of different ways to fight it, just a lot of different successful possibilities. So as we get this file loaded and ready to go, we can see what these teams choose to take. They decided to swap sides on me again. Oh, you're not forgiven. You are not forgiven, you guys. You're just trouble. Making the casters work for it. How could you do this? I tell you. So, without any further ado, let's pop into game number 2 and see what these teams have to offer. Game number 2 between Psistorm Probes and BoomerGaming is coming down the tubes right now. So we can see this time blue team will be BoomerGaming. They have drafted Falstad, Diablo, Sergeant Hammer, Blaze, and Anduin. Last game, Nimsy's Anduin looked really good. We'll see if Ebagatron can respond. Blaze Chronicler had a really strong Blaze last game, and last time Diablo was played. So it looks like these guys are just swapping picks, seeing what works here. But the kind of protect the hammer comp with some Falstad flexibility to either collect waves or offer peel with the gust should give hammer a lot of freedom to be able to pick up minions during shrine fights and just be a general nuisance during team fights in general. Between Diablo, gust, and bunker, as well as Anduin possibly taking bubble or a light bomb just defensively, hammer should be able to get a lot of value within this team comp. On the red side, they've gone crazy. They've gone crazy on the red side. We've got Dahaka, Tassadar, Uther, Stukov, and Butcher. So this is 100% a carry Butcher comp. Tassadar is good on the shrines. Dahaka's a good answer for global into Falstad. On a map this large, he can find a lot of value. It does look like we've had a role swap here, as now it looks like... Wait, who was... Stormsword was on Tychus. Oh, Wolfinator was in the offlane. So Stormsword and Wolfinator have swapped. We'll see who has a better Dahaka. Now it's a competition. But yeah, this is a composition that can do a lot. But Wolfinator is required to be the carry on this map. Uther is a little weak as a main tank. Stukov is incredibly strong at stopping opponents from killing you. And if Butcher locks someone down, Stukov can really help there. But if they can't get this Butcher online by 10, I would say, they're really, really going to struggle with the amount of distance and control provided by blue team. So, we'll see which team brings more, but let's get game number 2 started between Psistorm Gaming BoomerGaming and Psistorm Probes. In the blue, representing the high heavens, these beautiful blue, gold, and white buildings, we have BoomerGaming. Dope Monster is in the tank, Sergeant Hammer. Ebagatron is on Anduin. We've got iFeed on the Dwarf on a Duck. Calavoth has brought Diablo to the side of heaven, that makes sense, and Chronicler is on Blaze. In the red, we have got the team known as Psistorm Probes. Valera is on the Tassadar, Stormsword is on the Dahaka, Nimsy playing Stukov, the Red Rook is on Uther, and Wolfinator gets to try Butcher carry. Level 1 talents, we do have the Frequent Flyer AA build, auto attack build for the Falstad this game. Soul Shield again for Diablo. Advanced Artillery as per usual for the Sergeant Hammer. They will get the stun and the flip onto the Dahaka, taking a lot of damage. Forestier's Bureau, the silence will come out as well. And for now, that will be the adaptive Zerg living. We have Adrenaline Stimpack for this Blaze and Power Word Shield for Anduin. Yeah, I said it right the first try this time. It's a miracle. We have Race Car Dahaka with the enhanced agility. Static Charge once again for Valera's Tassadar. We have Silver Touch, so reduce damage with heroic sources with devotion. Now they are going to jump onto the hammer here, not really able to do too much. A lot of damage goes out onto the Stukov here. The Red Rook does get hit also by Calavoth, but no one is going down yet. We've got the low blow from the Stukov and block from Butcher, so he's just a little more survivable to the autos from both the Falstad and the hammer, as this is a fairly auto attack heavy comp with Frequent Flyer, with Advanced Artillery, and even to some degree, Blaze and Diablo can get some damage from autos, so block is not necessarily terrible, especially at 75% early in a fight for a Butcher. Falstad will be the one facing up against the global of Dahaka on top, and that's really smart for BoomerGaming, as Dahaka really doesn't like going into ranged auto attackers. They can just poke him, and they make his life quite frustrating. Butcher looking to see if this Falstad goes up too far, but he's actually kind of just disappeared from the lane when they realized that Butcher had gone missing from mid. So he will play safely for now. In the bottom, Dope Monster, Calavoth, and E-Bagaton are looking to take this camp, and it doesn't look like they can get on the point in time. They are, no, poked away. And so that experience will go over to BoomerGaming, but they're actually slightly behind on experience at the moment. Now both teams will hit 4. It will be 7 before the Hammer is truly comfortable. And this is where Hammer has to choose whether she wants Unstoppable or healing on her autos. And I find it's a very game-by-game basis. And it really depends if your healer has a cleanse or not, in my opinion. I think you can go for the healing with someone like an Anduin who can pull you out of trouble, because it's a little easier to take hover mode and just heal up. Especially with the silence, like, you're not going to be able to pop the Unstoppable in a silence puddle. You just have to trust your Anduin. And we do in fact see that Regenerative Biosteel does come out from the Sergeant Hammer in this game. So the first shrine will activate. It will be a frozen shrine, which is very, very important. And they are feeding up this Butcher. He's up to 35 meat so far, just off of minions, as the kills are 0-0, 3 minutes in. Shrine will come off of cooldown. Nimsy will step in. Chronicler, I think, was seen by Nimsy there, but here comes the Unstoppable. No, Wolfenator is going to cancel his charge, which is called Ruthless Onslaught. So red team will rotate first. They will get priority here, but it doesn't look like BoomerGaming is quite ready to just give this away yet. The charge will go towards... Okay, well, he definitely... Of all the charges he could have made, that was one of them. Calavold is getting stunned up here. That pull is used on the Diablo. Chronicler has to pop Pyromania just to keep himself alive. I-Feed coming in here. He didn't use flood. There's so much damage on the Storm Sword there. Calavold needs to be careful. He's down to 200 health. The stun will come out from the Uther, but instead Uther will die. Now he can still heal his teammates for the time being. A puddle will come out, but Butcher will go down as well, taking him down to 33 health. And it is a 2-0 as Anduin actually gets both those kills. E-Bagatron, a slayer in game number 2. And Dihaka very likely would have died too if he hadn't kept a good chunk of his trait available for that fight. So a very successful fight, and part of that, I don't want to be quick to criticize any player, but that charge into here, leaving his team kind of over here high and dry, really did make things so the team fight was very split. Now, once again, BoomerGaming will back off here as their Falstad is bottom and their Dahaka is mid. So they're going to look to try and get some value here. With Stormsword, oh, a good pushback, and there's the Chronicler looking for the Jet Propulsion. Here will come the charge. The Ruthless Onslaught from Wolfenator comes in. They're not able, as once again the Pyromania from Chronicler gives them big armor. The charge is on the Nimsy. They're going to try and kill the Stukov here. They have a full level advantage now as they went to get those minions. In comes the charge from Wolfenator. The tongue comes out, but there's the pull from E-Bagatron. The Silence Puddle will come out as Calavoth charges into them. Chronicler is here as well. Falstad is still bottom. This is a 5v4 as Wolfenator jumps onto Dope Monster. A good pushback there with the concussive blast. Uther goes down to the hands of Blaze, or should I say the fires. And a ton of damage onto the Dahaka as well. The charge will come out, but Dahaka is killed once again by Anduin. E-Bagatron, are you going to steal all your team's kills? There's the push onto Wolfenator. They're trying to block him away from getting through the gate. He's trying to survive, but he can't. And Butcher dies to Dope Monster's hammer. And he's down to 23 meat. He has less now than he had before this shrine started. 10s have come in a level and a half earlier for the members of BoomerGaming. The Lightning Breath is going to torch the Tassadar, but he will survive. We've got Mighty Gust for Falstad, Lightning Breath for Diablo, Napalm Strike, so not the BFG from Hammer, Bunker Drop for this guy, Blaze, and Light Bomb on the Anduin. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Falstad has just been free pushing, almost has this bottom fort down. Stormsword is trying to finish off these minions, but the next time anyone pushes toward this, it'll be all over. The Light Bomb will come out. They're trying to put more damage onto Uther and onto Butcher. And the Mighty Gust will come and will shove them all into one. What are they going to do here? They've lost their fort. The damage coming in is crazy. Anduin again kills Uther. Wolfinator gets jumped on, gets flipped, and this time is killed by iFeed on the Falstad. We've got 4 kills on the Anduin. He's a monster. Who knew that sword in his back was anything more than ornamental? And they're coming in hard. The flip on Valeria gets jumped on by the Frozen Punisher and killed. And before Calavoth can even take damage from the keep, the Frozen Punisher freezes it. This has been demoralizing for the members of Psistorm Probes. They're still half health on this Frozen Punisher. Now they just have hit 10s. They have Isolation, Archon, Divine Shield, Flailing Swipe, and Lamb to the Slaughter. But once again, Uther will die. He will drop the shield onto this Butcher. They break down the bunker. They're trying to take down the Punisher as it's putting damage onto their keep. They do try to get in here. A stun onto good trait use there by Stormsword means he will have the charge in from Wolfinator. He drops Lamb to the Slaughter. He's trying to kill. Here comes the Lightning Breath. He cannot get to the Falstad, and he's killed down to 0 meteor. And the flip onto Dahaka. He's trying to burrow away. He's taking a lot of damage, but the Flailing Swipe will push away the highly aggressive BoomerGaming for now. And at least, just for now, Psistorm Probes will survive. A desperate defense that takes their core down to 56%. And now Wolfinator has to literally start from square one on his fresh meat. Stormsword looking to take this bottom neutral camp, get themselves a little more experience, get themselves back in this game. But he doesn't have Burrow. He needs to be careful. There is the stun from Chronicler. And the leap in from Diablo. It doesn't look, the Burrow will come out, but there's nothing he can do. And that is the end of Dahaka. They're looking to be... The Gust comes out. It does catch... Oh my god, that's crazy damage. That's crazy damage. If I say it again, will that make it less true? That's crazy damage. As Tassadar is blown away. The fort will go down. Now, the next shrine is the Mortar Shrine in the bottom lane. And fort keep gone here, fort down on the bottom. That gate is untouched. That gate's pretty fine. That gate's also doing pretty well. It is now up to the members of Psistorm Probes to just do their best to soak up experience, to hit their teams, and try to find a positive fight for themselves. The bottom gate will be taken, and they're still so far away from level 13. They're looking to find an advantage here. There is the stun onto Calavoth. Redrook does get flipped over. Uther knocked in to the wall and killed by the charge from Chronicler, with the collision course doing so much damage. These Psistorms are coming out here. Now, there was some extra healing there from the tank Uther, but again, the team is so squishy into so much damage. Dope Monster taking good damage. The regenerative Biosteel giving him health back every time he fires. Valera trying to punish Dope Monster. He does get him down to about half. Archon will come out. The Keep has still got half health. This is not over. There is also this Bruiser camp pushing top, which means there has no pressure been coming through this top lane at this time. The Shrine is coming in 15 seconds. Butcher now has 29 meat, is hoping to get a little more as he stacks up. Fresh meat can be picked up to gain plus half an attack damage per fresh meat. Okay, so he's got 15 extra attack damage at the moment. They are going to prioritize the point. They jump on a Chronicler. They do a lot of them. It's 16 to 13 at the moment, and Dope Monster is just pounding damage into Valera and into Stormsword. Wolfinator playing it careful on the edge here. We do have Calavoth with the Fire Stomp, looking to use the Fire Breath here. Here comes a Light Bomb. It stuns Dahaka. He gets caught out. The Divine Shield will keep him alive for now. Nimsy playing at a careful distance. And here comes the charge, but the Mighty Gust means Wolfender gets 0 value from the Ruthless Onslaught. Stormsword trying to find another tongue. The big Silence Puddle is helping, but that's the end of Dahaka with the double charge from Diablo and Blaze. The Lightning Brothers doing so much damage. They melt the Uther. They melt the Butcher. So much damage. A Flailing Swipe comes out from Nimsy Valera trying to find the trade, but his spirit is broken. He stands there and lets Volstad kill him as Volstad is trying to catch his Blaze and Anduin and kills. And in the middle, the Khazra chucks spears at minions. In the bottom, the Hammer chucks shells at the keep. And it looks like they will fall back once again to this Mortar Shrine where they have 26 minions. Someone is pinging onto the camp here. Looks like Dope Monster is going to help Calibo take it as Chronicler clears the point. And Psistorm probes have been putting up, I would say, a very, valorous attempt. Like, they're doing their best, but from the early game, BoomerGaming has been so clean. And the charge damage, the combined charge of Diablo and Chronicler is over 1,000 damage at this point. It is surprising how blown up you can get from them just looking at you funny. Now Hammer even has a shield, which makes it and increases basic attack damage for 5 seconds. That just seems unfun. So they have their Mortar Punisher. They have 2 Khazra camps pushing towards the middle here, but they will go down quickly. It's 18 to 14. They still don't have 16s, and they won't with this final push. They are standing. They are waiting. They want to see the flank come in. Redbrook will take the jump from the Punisher. The stun is onto Dahaka. Wolfenander will charge in. There is the Divine Shield. They're looking for their win condition here, getting some meat on this Butcher. The silence will come out, and they're trying to pin them between their team and their core. That's so much damage on Nimsy, and Dahaka will kill him with the Lightning Breath. The bunker will be dropped. Wolfenander is killed. Valera is killed. Stormsword isn't killed because the core goes down instead, and that will be a clean and powerful 2-0 from BoomerGaming over the Psistorm probes. The kills are 20-0. I really don't know how to paint this for you other than I think we saw some good things from Psistorm probes, but I think we saw very clean, very crisp play from BoomerGaming, and that won them the game very cleanly. This is a standard Anduin build, a standard Blaze build. I call it standard Hammer build. We don't say ton of Hammer, but the regenerative Biosteel makes sense over the Unstoppable when you have an Anduin. Thrusters and Mechanical Know-How makes sense. Stomp build into Lightning Breath, and the pretty standard Auto Attack Falstad build. As for Dahaka, I prefer Feeding Frenzy, but Paralyzing Enzymes is fine. Also, Shockwave was almost fully stacked by this point, so he was hitting a lot of these. The Q build, Uther, is fine. The Low Blow, kind of Growing Infestation, one good spread build from Stukov. Unrelenting Pursuit. I don't see enough Butcher to know if this is a normal Butcher build, to be honest. But, I mean, he could only get to 22 by the end of the game. This was a domination. I think they picked a fun draft because they knew it was going to be very difficult to beat their opponent, so they busted out the Butcher draft in one of the last games of the season. But that it does mean this is a crisp 2-0 for BoomerGaming. This series is over. Congratulations to them, and thank you to both our teams for this entertaining match. We have one more set for today, one more match for today. We'll do it in about 10 minutes. So once again, I will shut down stream so that it's easier to upload to YouTube. But our next series will be B East between Fundamentals and Frank's Furters in 10 to 15 minutes. Give me a short chance to rest my voice. Hope to see you all there. Go enjoy yourself. Some heroes.